Hi, I'm Neil Priest and welcome to Dreaming of Chess Mastery, a YouTube channel that explores the world of adult chess improvement. Well, hot on the heels of a video talking about Woodpecker 2, the much awaited follow-up to the best-selling course book, The Woodpecker Method, by Axel Smith and Hans Tikkanen, we have another indispensable book to discuss. This time it's a book by Jesus de la Villa, another extremely well-known author, but unlike his other well-known books that focus on the endgame, 100 endgames you must know, 100 endgame patterns you must know, and an endgame workbook based on endgames you need to know. This time it's something a little bit different. And I have to tell you that I think this is a groundbreaking book, a one of a kind, and it is a book that I would say is indispensable reading for adult chess improvers, and young chess improvers. Irrespective of your age, you need to read and very carefully study this book. But it will be of particular value, enormous. I can't stress it enough how important this book is to the adult chess improver who is trying to battle through without the benefit of regular coaching. Now, why do I say that? I hope I've got you a little bit curious. Well, the book is titled, and this kind of says it all, 50, it's once again, he likes his lists, 50 mistakes you should know, that every chess player should know, something like that. So it's a book about not what you need to be doing right, but the things that you need to stop doing which are holding you back. And there isn't a lot in the way of books on this subject matter when you really think about it. There are a few. Colin Crouch, I think, has written a book along the lines of Why You Lose at Chess, where he analysed all his losses and mistakes he made that caused them. There's an Andrew Saltus, no surprise there, prolific author. There's an Andrew Saltus book on the mistakes you make. And there's also, I think, a book by the English player Chris Baker on why you lose at chess as well. Something like that. Now, a lot of those books, whilst they obviously deal with chess, they are, in a sense, psychological. And Jesus de la Villa, not sure, de la Villa, his book is very much on chess rather than psychological underpinnings to your mistakes. And I think that's an important thing to say at the outset. I think it makes it very, very interesting. He stresses that. So that doesn't preclude you from, when you start analysing the mistakes, looking at perhaps the psychological conditions why you make certain mistakes at certain points and not at others. But that's a quite different matter. Another book that has discussed mistakes in some detail, of course, is the essential Pump Up Your Rating. I think another classic in the world of adult chess improvement by Axel Smith of the Woodpecker fame. And in Pump Up Your Rating, one of the 8 chapters is devoted to making a list of mistakes. And he really goes into a lot of detail about how you would go about doing this. He gives examples from his own practice. And it's very, very interesting. But I've tried doing that before once. And it's not easy. It's not easy as a non-professional chess coach, as a top-flight chess player. It's not easy to actually accurately categorize your mistakes. And as James Clear makes quite obvious in his book Atomic Habits, it's very hard to do. One of the reasons we don't make certain habits, one of the reasons we don't do certain things, is if it is difficult to do in the first place. We will find all sorts of reasons to avoid doing that which is troublesome. So as much as I've always wanted to take the hundreds of games that I have on the internet and start picking them apart, analysing the mistakes and trying to find patterns in what I'm doing, I've never done it because I've started once or twice and it's never really got momentum because it's such hard work. I'm just not sure how to categorize them. Now, I no longer have that excuse because this book details very precisely the reasons why the mistakes are, not the reasons why, but classifies the mistakes that we make. He's drawn his examples from his vast coaching experience, and most of the games seem to be from Spanish junior chess tournaments, and I suspect many of them are either players that he's coached or players where he was coaching someone in the tournament, so following the tournament closely. And I suppose this is a good point to get a key question out the way that is always asked on book reviews, on adult chess improver channels. Well, who's this book aimed at? What's the rating band? And Jesus makes it clear that these are mistakes that are made by players right across the rating spectrum, and I suspect this book is will be useful for literally any chess player. But the mistakes are taken from games between, I suppose, a rating band mostly of 1400 to 2200. So that's a pretty broad spectrum, and I think players at any level will get an enormous amount out of the book. And probably if you're stronger than that, there's something to be gleaned from it as well. But perhaps as he makes the point in his introduction, and I've read the introduction and scanned the book, but I haven't read the whole book yet. But he makes the point that when you go about sort of compiling your own list of mistakes and analysing the mistakes you make, you should classify at least 5 mistakes per game. And if you're making less than that consistently, or if you make less than that in a game, it may be one of your rare exceptional games. And if consistently you only make a couple of errors per game, well, the book isn't aimed at you. So if you're an adult improver, anywhere in the sort of club range, all the way up to sort of low master strength, I think this book will be fantastic. What does he give in the way of advice? It's not just about identifying mistakes, but in each of the chapters, there's 12 chapters, and so sort of 4 or so mistakes per chapter. For each mistake, or sometimes groups of mistakes, He gives resources that are out there, generally exercise books that are worth studying, and also tips about how to avoid the mistake. So really it's very, very practical. A lot of diagnosis work, but also a lot of remedial suggestions. Now, and I was curious, as someone who loves his chess books, I was curious, and one of the things I did scanning the book is look at the suggestions for further reading. And Doretsky appears right across the board. So perhaps this book is useful for everybody, but it's certainly aimed at, for want of a better word, ambitious chess players. If you're wanting a book that just suggests simple problems with neat little quick fixes, there are other books that perhaps will cover that material, or those ideas you will find in other places. YouTube videos, for example, not this one. So that's it. I think this is a book that the chess world has been crying out for. And it's come to me at an astonishingly good moment, because I'm just about to embark on a long project, a sort of 1,000-day challenge or project. Not a challenge, I don't think that's the right word. But I'm about to start a new phase. I sort of, my previous run of misguided attempts at chess improvement have sort of run out of gas, and it was time to reboot. And I will be making a lot of videos about that in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. But one thing that is clear to me is that the perfect place to start, if you are looking at a serious overhaul and leveling up of your chess, the perfect place to start is analysing your games to try and understand what common errors you are making, where your strengths and weaknesses lie. And now I have no excuse. I have the ideal tool at my disposal to help me do that. So step one will be writing out the 50 mistakes and starting to sift through my classical, it's all online, but my classical, rapid and daily games, and start classifying those errors. And while I'm doing that, I will also start working through the hundreds of examples that he gives. So something to look forward to. And I do feel, at long last, like I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of trying to pick apart sensibly my own game. Because at the moment a coach is really beyond my means, both geographical and sadly financial. So that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I really must say, if you're serious about improving your chess, I've bought this on Forward Chess, which seems like up until now I've been very satisfied with books on Forward Chess. It's a great app, a good way of studying chess books, I think. Of course, there's advantages with using a real physical board, but for this type of book, I think a laptop will do just fine. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I would encourage you to buy the book, and perhaps we can start a conversation about it. we can work on it together. Until next time, from sunny Brazil, ciao.